The day my boss tried to sleep with my fiancée, he probably thought he'd get away with it. He was the kind of man who always got away with everything. But what he didn't know was that the photos he loved so much, they were about to become the reason he lost his wife, his reputation, and everything he thought he controlled. If you've ever dealt with a toxic boss, someone who abused their power, lied, manipulated, and thought they were untouchable, this story's for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up, because this isn't just revenge. This is slow, patient, calculated justice. And trust me, the ending is worth the wait. This happened several years ago, but even now, when I think about him, I can still feel the tightness in my chest. My boss was what people politely call Type A. What that really meant? Control freak, ego the size of a skyscraper, and a man who enjoyed reminding everyone beneath him that they were beneath him. He ran the production floor like it was a battlefield. Every conversation was a command. Every mistake, even minor, was a public humiliation opportunity. He didn't just want efficiency, he wanted dominance. And the worst part? He was charming when it suited him. That polished, confident smile, the firm handshake, the laugh that filled a room. Upper management loved him, but the people who worked under him, we knew better. He was married to one of our coworkers, blonde, soft-spoken, loyal, and completely unaware that her husband treated fidelity like a hobby he'd long since retired from. Because here's the part that still disgusts me. He didn't just cheat, he documented it. Photography was his passion, that's how he framed it. Cameras, lenses, lighting equipment. He always had some new gadget to show off. But he wasn't photographing landscapes. He wasn't capturing wildlife. He was taking pictures of himself with the women he slept with. Not artistic, not subtle, just proof. And then he would bring them into the office, show them around like trophies, laugh, brag. You could see the discomfort in people's faces, but no one dared say anything because he controlled schedules, promotions, raises, transfers. He controlled your livelihood, and he loved that. At the time, I was in a long-distance relationship. She worked at another branch of our company in a different city. Smart, ambitious, kind. The kind of person who lights up a room without trying. We were serious, planning a future, saving for a ring. One afternoon, during a casual conversation, he found out I was seeing someone at that office. I still remember the way his eyes sharpened. "Oh yeah?" he said, leaning back in his chair. "What's her name?" Something about the way he asked made my stomach tighten. I told him. He nodded slowly and smiled. Not the friendly kind, the calculating kind. A few weeks later, he had business at that office. Before he left, he made a little joke. "Maybe I'll look her up while I'm there," he said casually. I laughed it off. I shouldn't have, because when he came back, everything changed. My phone rang that night. It was her. Her voice sounded shaken, not crying, not hysterical, just rattled. "He came to see me," she said. My heart started pounding. "What do you mean?" "He asked me out, said he could help my career, that he had influence." My hands clenched so tight my knuckles turned white. And I told him no." She paused. He didn't take it well. I could already feel the storm forming. Within 2 weeks, she was called into HR. Suddenly, there were performance concerns. Suddenly, there were complaints. Things that had never existed before. She was blindsided. And then, she was terminated. Just like that. No warning, no legitimate cause, just gone. When she told me, I felt something inside me crack. It wasn't just anger, it was helplessness. I knew exactly who was behind it, and I couldn't prove a thing. I confronted him carefully. Neutral tone, professional words. "Hey, I heard she was let go. That seemed sudden." He looked at me with that same fake smile. "Sometimes people just aren't a good fit," he said, shrugged. Then he leaned in slightly. You'd be surprised what you learn about people. The message was clear. He did this, and he wanted me to know it, but he also wanted me to know I couldn't touch him. That night, I couldn't sleep. My fiancée, my future wife, had lost her job because she refused to sleep with my boss, and he was walking around like a king. Revenge, when it's impulsive, is sloppy. And sloppy revenge gets you fired, sued, arrested. So I didn't act. I waited. I observed. I paid attention. Because here's what I knew. Men like him have weaknesses. And his weakness? Ego. And those photos. I knew he couldn't keep them at home. If his wife found them, it would be nuclear. So they had to be somewhere else. Somewhere private. Somewhere accessible. His office. But his office was always locked. Except on Saturdays, when the cleaning crew came through. One Saturday, I signed up for overtime. Volunteered, actually. Played the dependable employee. The building was quiet. Fluorescent lights humming. The air heavy with industrial stillness. Around midday, the cleaning lady came through with her cart. She unlocked his office, propped the door open, started dusting, vacuuming. I waited. Then I walked in holding a set of blueprints. Just need to grab some measurements, I said casually. She nodded. No problem, just close up when you're done. She left. The door clicked shut behind her. And for the first time, I was alone in his sanctuary. My pulse was hammering so loud I could hear it in my ears. Every second felt amplified. What if someone walked in? What if there were cameras? What if I was wrong? I opened the first drawer. Nothing. Second drawer. Files, pens, receipts. Then the bottom drawer. In the back, under a stack of folders. There it was. A thick stack of glossy photographs, about 4 inches tall. My stomach twisted. I didn't flip through all of them. I didn't need to. I saw enough. Him. Smirking. Different women. Different settings. All unmistakable. All incriminating. I took the entire stack, closed the drawer, wiped the handle, walked out calmly, closed the office door, and finished my shift like nothing had happened. I didn't act immediately. That's the key. Revenge isn't about rage. It's about timing. I waited for him to announce his next business trip. When he finally did, a 3-day trip out of state, I knew it was time. I selected a dozen photos, not random ones, strategic ones. Clear shots of his face, different women, all with dark or red hair. His wife? Blonde. There would be no confusion, no plausible deniability. I drove to the town where he lived. My hands were steady, my breathing calm. This wasn't about emotion anymore. This was justice. I found the post office closest to his house. No return address, just his wife's name, and I slid the envelope into the slot. For a split second, I hesitated. Then I let go. The metal flap snapped shut, and with it, so did his illusion of control. I didn't have to wait long. The first sign was his absence. He came back from his trip early, didn't come into work for 2 days. Rumors started circulating, arguments heard at home, neighbors noticing police presence one night. Then came the official announcement. His wife had filed for divorce. Word spread fast. Apparently, she hadn't just confronted him. She had hired a lawyer, and not just any lawyer, a ruthless one. Because those photos, they weren't just proof of infidelity. They were proof of repeated, documented affairs, public humiliation, emotional damage, everything a divorce attorney dreams of. When he finally returned to work, he looked smaller. Still trying to act confident, but the edge was gone. No more smug grin, no more strutting around. He stopped showing off, stopped bragging, stopped targeting people for sport. Within months, he was gone. Between the divorce settlement and legal fees, I heard his finances were wrecked. His wife took him to the cleaners, the house, a significant portion of his assets, and probably whatever dignity he had left. The day I found out the divorce was finalized, I sat in my car in silence. No cheering, no fist pumping, just relief. A weight lifted off my chest that had been sitting there since the day my fiancée lost her job. He thought he could ruin lives without consequence. He thought power meant immunity. He was wrong. My girlfriend? She didn't stay unemployed for long. She found a better job, a healthier environment, and eventually, she became my wife. We're not angry anymore, not bitter, just wiser. And every now and then, when we talk about those years, there's this quiet understanding between us. Justice doesn't always come fast, but when it comes patiently, it hits harder. If I had to pick the most satisfying image of all, it wasn't the divorce papers. It wasn't his absence from work. It was the mental picture of him standing in his kitchen, opening that envelope, seeing the photos, realizing, understanding that someone had outplayed him. For once, he wasn't the one in control. For once, he was exposed. Power can make people reckless. Arrogance makes them sloppy. And men who treat others like disposable pawns often forget one thing. Pawns can become players. Karma doesn't always knock loudly. Sometimes it arrives in a plain white envelope. If this story gave you that slow burn satisfaction, hit that like button. Drop a comment below. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And if you love stories where toxic people finally get what they deserve, subscribe. Because trust me, there's plenty more where this came from.